live right now. I just need to quickly check to see if everything is all good or not, or whether it's all just messed up. I don't know. Anyway, guys, if you are new around here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But I just want to say as well, before we do get into today's news, because there is quite a lot of news that we're going to have to dive into, I just want to say, like, to the 60 people who obviously recently just joined the channel in the last couple of days, I do try to bring out Leeds United content on a daily basis if possible, and if I can't, it's usually because obviously I'm busy, blah blah blah. But I will always try to go live. I'll always try to bring out new series, and I'm going to be bringing out a new series on Tuesday. So pretty much what that includes is it's a subscriber takeover. So every Tuesday, a subscriber will come onto my channel, and they will have control of that video. So you want to ask questions, we're going to just have like a little discussion. This is your time now, whether to be able to promote yourself, whether to be able to promote any other social medias that you may need. And that's how I'm going to implement this channel, because I wanted to be able to base this channel off more of a community, a solid community, a community where you can come and voice your opinion, and I guess build a big a forum. And as you can tell by today's title, we're going to go more into the Voba chat a little bit later on. But I just want to start off by talking about the injury update by what Daniel Farke came out with the other day, that Jack Harrison, Junior Firpo, and obviously Tyler Adams apparently is still now out injured. And it's a bit weird when it comes to the Jack Harrison one, because I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if it was towards the end of the season, whether it was the start of like the period 2 months prior the end of the season, if that makes any sense, or if it was just in training. But apparently he's going to be out, or all three of them are going to be out until the international break, and that's usually around about October time, isn't it? So if that's the case, will Leeds United be able to keep hold of Tyler Adams? Will Leeds United be able to keep hold of Jack Harrison? And I personally think so, yes. I mean, there will be clubs out there, don't get me wrong, who will look at like these types of players that can maybe get the price down, because obviously they are injured, and take that risk on them. I personally wouldn't. If I was a manager or a chairman, I'd look at that and be like, okay, well, Tyler Adams, he's quite injury prone. I mean, he had quite a lot of injuries when he was playing at RB Leipzig. And obviously now he's going to be out for 7 months, if that's actually true, because up till October he was out around about, was it March time? So that indicates around about 7 months. With Jack Harrison, I don't know. It has to be some sort of serious issue, isn't it? Because he's always been consistent when it comes to fitness. So that one, hopefully, we can keep an eye on that one. And as well, Junior Firpo, I don't know what's going on with him, because there was a lot of speculation now. He was supposed to be going to Marseille on loan. Then Galatasaray was supposed to come in for him, but I don't understand what that's gone, because it's gone quite quiet. Sinistera as well. He's another one who's come back recently from injury, and that's someone who I'm really looking forward to, because he's another player, isn't he? He's another player that we have to look at and be like, okay, well, do we keep or do we sell? And personally, I'm hoping we can keep, because there's Rutter, there's Sinistera, there's Nonto, and then Somerville, I do believe. So which one would you rather prefer to leave? Would it be Jack Harrison? I don't know. It's hot and cold, isn't he? But we know what we can get out of him if he actually does perform very well. And in the Championship, I feel like it's going to be so easy for Jack Harrison this year, because of how well he actually performed in the Premier League. I know there's a lot of people out there who will probably argue with me and disagree with me on that, but I personally think in the Championship, these players will perform, and these players are going to perform on Daniel Farke, because if you think about it, the type of game Daniel Farke plays, it's similar to Bielsa, but not Bielsa. High intense football, possession-based football, the press, fullbacks, like wing-backs going out wide. Fair enough, the wingers are more of like a 3, number 10. It's because obviously he prefers to play like the inverted wingers, and that's what Sinistera will be really good at. When it comes to Nonto and Sinistera, they will automatically give you that width anyways. But when it comes to the attacking third, they'll go out wide. But 9 times out of 10, you always see them cutting inside, don't you? Especially Sinistera. And I can always remember that goal just before he got injured, where he took, I think it was against Manchester United, I believe. I can't remember. But he cut back inside, and it swung right into the far right-hand corner, and it was such a beautiful goal. So if we can keep hold of Sinistera for at least half a season, I think Leeds United are going to be absolutely fantastic next season because we'll have Rutter on the right, get rid of Somerville. I personally just get rid of Somerville, get rid of Nonto. I mean, if you haven't seen my video of the rant with the Everton fans or whatever, then go check it out. I mean, I'll explain it in a minute. But who would you prefer actually on the wing? Because I personally would like to see Rutter on the wing. And then who would we have up top? We've got Matthias Joseph, Joel Perrault. Apparently, the links is becoming a lot bigger. And then Jack Harrison or Nonso on the left. So it's quite difficult, but at the same time, it's very, very good that we have that depth as well. So as you can tell, we're going to go into the Voba situation now. And my personal opinion, I know there was a lot of like YouTube videos about Voba a couple of days ago. And my personal opinion is it's really, really annoyed me now. Because we've sold Aronson, Koch, Rocker, Christensen, Diego, and Llorente. These are players who have all gone out on loan. We've sold Rodrigo and we've sold Tyler Roberts. Rodrigo for about 3 million, Tyler Roberts for around about, is it between 500 to 700k? I'm not 100% sure, but if that is the case, then we've only got 3.5 million pounds in the transfer budget or received. And if we was to actually go out and we was to work this out, yeah, if we was to instead of loaning out these players, why couldn't we have just decided, okay, well, maybe if you want to leave the club, then we'll give you permission to be sold instead of going for this loan option? Because personally, I don't know about you guys, but these players that have gone out on loan, I do not want them at the club now. Why? Because I do not want a player to think that they're too big for the club, too good for the championship, even though they're the responsible people who got us like relegated, because you could just tell. So if you think about it, Koch, if we was to sell him for 10 to 12 mil, Christensen 7 to 10 mil, Rocker to 10 to 13 mil, Aronson to 10 to 12, Llorente 5 to 7. Obviously, we've got Roberts between 500 and 700k, and then Voba, if it was to get 10 to 12 million. So if we was to put all of those, like the maximum amount of money, that's nearly 17 million pounds in transfer budget we could have accumulated. And that 70 million pounds, the 49ers could have like rebundled into the squad. And it's such a piss take, because what club, what chairman or sport director sits there and goes, okay, well, we're going to put the relegation release clause into your contract, and if you don't want to be in the championship, you can leave, but it's okay, you can come back when we get back into the Premier League. You can come back. It's honestly ridiculous. Whether the 49ers knew about it, I don't 100% know. I mean, if they did know about it, they couldn't really do too much about it anyways, because obviously, yes, they had a stake in the club, but Radrizzani and Victor Orta were the main people. More so, Radrizzani were the people who had the final say. They could give their opinion, but they couldn't really structure the business. Whereas, like right now, even though they could see things happening, they can sort it out. It's a bit of a shit show, don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. And I personally, with how Voba has come out and lied, should we say, about wanting to stay at Leeds United, and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, after he was pictured in the new Leeds kit, after he was pictured in training, after he was pictured like happy and smiling with all the Leeds United players, go. I don't want you here, you know? And as well, with all these players that are going out on loan, who's going to step up and replace them? Are we going to see Cooper? Are we going to see Charlie Cresswell at centre back? Who's going to play at left back when Junior Firpo's injured? Stroik? Helder? He had a good season at Rotherham. He played okay against, was it Monaco? So there is a possibility of that. But at the same time, I don't know if Leeds United are going to go down the same route as last season, you know, where we would have all these people and we would have, like, say, like Stuart Dallas was a winger at Brentford, yeah? Then he came to Leeds United, played as a winger, then centre midfield, then he played right back, and he played left back. We've got Pascal Struijk, who played centre defensive midfield, then he played centre back and left back. So are we going to go and continue playing all these players out of position? Because I think it's ridiculous, in my opinion. I think we, as a club, need to stand firm together, and we should actually go out and actually buy system-based players for that exact spot. And this whole situation with Sam Byram as well. Like, when I first saw that news about Sam Byram being in training, I thought it was in trial at first, but it was only in training. But Daniel Farke's comments about Sam Byram is that if Sam Byram continues to progress, then Daniel Farke will speak to the 49ers about signing Sam Byram. And as well, why are we going out and buying another right back? You know, we've already got Luke Ayling. We've already got Cody Drameh. And personally, Luke Ayling's going to be good in the Championship, don't get me wrong. But personally, I think Cody Drameh, with the experience that he had at Luton Town, phenomenal. When he was there, was it Cardiff? Phenomenal. In like 6 months, he managed to get like the Player of the Season award. So we do have quality in the kids, but in my opinion, it's more about getting that depth, because I'd rather have 2 goalkeepers, 4 centre backs, 2 or 3 right backs, 2 or 3 left backs, and so on. But I personally don't think Leeds United are going to be able to do it, because with the FFP rules and with everything that's happening in the Championship, it's a lot more stricter, isn't it, when it comes to finances. But let's have a look at some of your comments. It's nice to see quite a lot of people in here. So there's nearly 40 of you in the building. So it's the most amount of people I've added on a live stream. So make sure you smash that like button. And yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, he was, in my opinion, and I'm going to stand by, I thought it was okay. I just think with the quality of players that we had in the Premier League, I think you are right. Like, we had Championship players playing in the Premier League for 3 years now. So I can understand it. I mean, at the time when he was coming in for like £10 million for another RB Salzburg signing, I thought, okay, well, this isn't going to be good. This is going to be another Rasmus Christensen type of situation. But he, in my opinion, he did okay. He has the leadership quality. He goes into tackles. He is a passion merchant, and that's what I like. But the one thing I don't like is people who are going to be dishonest about wanting to stay at the club because we've been relegated. And if that's going to be the case, then I don't know. I'm not really convinced on why we would want him to stay. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why I was mentioning about the whole situation when it comes to Sinisterra in the Championship. I personally think if he was to play in maybe like half a season, then I think it would be okay. But at the same time, the Championship isn't as aggressive. It isn't really as physical, and it really isn't as demanding as the Premier League. If you compare it to if we would play against these high pressing teams in the Premier League, you're going to be running non-stop. But in the Championship, it's a very competitive league, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's not as competitive or as physical as the Premier League. So, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see Sinisterra in the Championship. We all know what type of player he is, and it's exciting because we've got a lot of really, really talented players. Whether we can score or not, whether we're going to have to rely on Patrick Bamford or not, 100% no. Evening, mate. How you doing? Nonto, well, from right now, Nonto is a Leeds United player. There is obviously, we all know there's a possibility that he could leave, and that is a possibility. But at the same time, there's no other clubs that are coming in for him. He doesn't have a sale release clause. He doesn't have a loan release clause or anything like that. So him, Tyler Adams, and a couple of other players that we did bring in don't have these types of release clauses in their contract. So from my perspective, if Everton are not going to spend over £30 million on Nonto, then I don't think the 49ers are going to question that, because since the 49ers have come over, they seem to have more of that bully mentality, and that's something that I like, because even back when, like, Eric Cantona, I saw a comment, I had a discussion with a guy in the comments below, when Eric Cantona was available, was playing for Leeds United, Manchester United came in, and for some reason, instead of trying to bully them out of the buy, instead of trying to bully them into being able to pay that little bit extra, Leeds United just accepted. And we've been like that every year, every consecutive year. When a club comes in for one of our big assets, because since it's a bigger club and more of an exciting prospect, then the player wants to leave, and then they get sold for the cheap. So, thank you for the super chat, Alan. Means a lot. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm really wary. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've spoken to on Instagram are saying that our defense is going to be so much better in the Championship, and I can see his point of view, because we're classed as a Premier League team now, or an ex-Premier League team. So our players should have that experience. That the players should have that little bit more extra experience when it comes to defending a clean sheet. But I'm really, really not convinced that our defence is going to do anything. I don't trust Meslier, because whoever watched the game, did you watch the game? There was one section when Monaco was pressing high. Luke Ayling had the ball, passed it back to Meslier, and instead of hoofing it straight back up, do you know what he did? This is something that he used to do in the Premier League, and this is why I'm not convinced on him. He passed it straight to Luke Ayling when there was a guy on his back, instead of just booting it up. And this is why I'm not convinced that Meslier is going to do any decent in the Championship. But at the same time, there's no one interested in him. There was reports that Chelsea was still keen on him, or he wanted to move to Chelsea. But it's like we're saying with these like Patrick Bamford, Liam Cooper, Luke Ayling, our old guard in the Bielsa time. No one's coming in for them, and these players, there's transfer rumours and stuff like that. But Meslier, he wants away from the club. So if he's another one of these players who wants away from the club, does he deserve to be our number one goalkeeper? But at the same time, we don't have a choice, because we haven't signed anybody yet, And we can't continue to have players like this in our team who just don't want to be part of it. Yeah, this is what I said at the start of the video. Constantly loaning out players and not being able to get a fee for them, it's just not going to be great for the 49ers, because Leicester City have made around about £80 million in profit by just selling two players. Should we say? Harvey Barnes has just recently gone. Was it yesterday or this morning? Harvey Barnes was announced as a Newcastle player for £38 million. Southampton as well. There's James Ward-Prowse, there's Lavia. He was missed out of the Southampton squad, so they're going to be recouping maybe like 30 to 50 million pounds for him. So when buying players like Rodrigo for 30 million pounds, and Dan James for 30 million pounds, and Brendan Aronson for 30 million pounds, how are we going to recoup any profit? Especially if we're selling Rodrigo for 3 million. Why did Orta think, okay, if we go down, because he must be so arrogant that he believed that we wasn't going to go down and there was no chance of us going down, to put a £3 million release clause in Rodrigo's contract when we bought him for 30 million. It just doesn't make sense. So with the FFP rules, and like I said at the start, it's like with the FFP rules, we have to start selling players now. So whether that's Jack Harrison, whether that's Nonso, whether that's Somerville's been linked away from the club by numerous sources to the Serie A. So we're going to have to wait and see about that. But even then, that's only going to fetch maybe like 10 to 15 million pounds in. So it's okay to loan out players, but we can't bring in players. And as well, if Boba goes out on loan, which apparently is supposed to be a loan to buy option, then we can only loan one more player out to a European club, and that's it. So if one more player goes after Boba, like say we sell Jack Harrison on loan to like say Inter Milan, then that's it. No other players can go out on loan to a European club. So it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I totally get that, but we need that now. We need the money now. Like for long term, if the end of the season for long term, fantastic. If like we can recoup any profit on Brendan Harrison, Christensen, Koch, Llorente, if we can build, or the team that the loan out can build a good solid structure of the loanees, and we can get some profit off them, then I think, wow, fantastic, great. But we need that now. We need that money now because the 49ers need that money. The 49ers are on about expanding Ellen Road. They've got plans for when we get back into the Premier League. But if they do not have the funds and they go outside the FFP rules, then we're in trouble. We're classed as in debt. We're classed as a breach. And this is why I say it's like it's okay to loan players out for long term, but for short term, it just doesn't make sense. But no, guys, that's pretty much all I've got to say. I mean, exactly, pal. I mean, he made a lot of woeful signings, but I'll give him credit. He did bring in some decent signings like Rafinha, and obviously there was a couple of other decent players as well. I can't really remember names, but he did bring in some decent players. But I just don't understand why Radrizzani had to let him take so much control over Leeds United's finances or transfer says. And as well, Radrizzani was the chairman, yeah? Radrizzani wanted Jesse Marsch gone by the Liverpool game. That was way before Christmas time. But for some reason, Victor Orta convinced him to stay. And I personally blame him for our relegation because there's a lot of fans who are giving so much shit to our players. But how can the players transform from going from Jesse Marsch to then Skabala, then Javi Gracia, and then Sam Allardyce in a space of like 5 months? You know? So there has to be a little bit of leeway on the players. Fair enough, the players are responsible because they're the ones who are on the pitch. But behind the scenes, it's like everyone else says, all the other content creators say, it's like a League One operation. And this is why with these loanees, it's more of like a bloody League One operation because, like I said, it's like, who does that? We could have got like £70 million in assets sold. And then it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, guys, it's just been a quick little video. Oh, hang on. Let me just respond to this one quickly. How many more players do you think we're going to sign before the Cardiff game? I mean, there is links to the goalkeeper. There's Cal Darlow, Angus Gunn, and then Freddie Woodman. I do believe in the last like hour or two, there has been a lot of talk at Leeds United and now focusing more so on a goalkeeper. So I will be doing a video more so on that tomorrow or the day after. There is a video coming out tomorrow at 8 a.m. as well on the left back situation, a right back, and then another player who could be leaving to the Serie A. So we're going to have to wait and see about that one. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping a left back and I'm hoping a goalkeeper. And I said this 2 weeks ago. I said the priority for me before even Junior Firpo came out injured was a left back and a new goalkeeper because Meslier, to me, he's done now. He's had his chance. Sell him on, or he can be dropped to the bench as a number 2. And then Junior Firpo, In the Championship, I think he'd be okay, but I just don't think he's in the right headspace, and I don't really think a lot of Leeds United fans will want him around anyway. So yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, there's almost 40 of you in the building, so make sure you like the video. If you are new around here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It's been a pleasure, honestly, been a pleasure to be able to talk to you guys. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.